Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and another card making video. Today I am sharing this fabulous new Slimline die set from Scrappy Tales. It is the Woodgrain Slimline die set, and you can see there it makes a slimline sized panel that is wood grain, and I love all things wood grain, so I'm very excited about this die, and I'm going to be sharing 3 different cards with it, using it in 3 different ways. So first of all, I'm going to die cut it from this pool colored cardstock, and I wanted to show you here what it looks like when you die cut it out. I did use my large platinum die cut machine so I could run it through in one pass, but I did actually run it through and back because it has some pretty fine detail and I wanted it to cut through that detailed area. Now these little pieces right here are like a spiral. It cut well, it's just when you try to take them out it can get hooked on itself. So be slow and steady when taking out those pieces. Now here I had to do a little glue glob surgery. And poke out my glue. My daughter uses this glue, so sometimes it gets left without the lid on it, or in this case the needle in my fine tip applicator. So I'm just adding dots of glue and lines of glue in and around this entire background, and then I'm gluing this on tone. So this is an 8.5 by 3.5 inch panel that I am sticking down my die cut piece to, and you can see it has the same color on top as on the bottom. I'm going to splatter that with some Cool Pool Silk from Spellbinders, and this looks dark but then dries lighter with a really nice shimmer. I'm also using the white one. I'm not sure if the white one's still available, but I'll have them linked for you. Next, I am taking my platform for my largest platinum machine. I'm going to put the die on it face up, and then I have a piece of watercolor cardstock that I am putting on top of that, taping it in place, and then I'm bringing in my embossing mat and my embossing plate and running that through to press the die into the paper. Now I tried this with regular cardstock too, and it cut it in some places, so I liked it better with the watercolor paper. Now I am die cutting the wood grain panel from a darker blue and gluing it onto a lighter blue for a two-toned look. So there's 3 different ways I'm using this. I got it a little askew, so to speak, so I had to trim a little bit off on that one, but there are my 3 backgrounds I will use in today's card. Now another idea I had was to save the negative pieces and make another background using those, and then you wouldn't have to die cut this again. And you could even use the piece you die cut out as a guide where to glue these down. So save those if you like, and then you can make a whole nother background. Now I am bringing in the Oopsie-Daisy Stampin' Die Set, also from Scrappy Tales. Both of these are from the newest release, and I'm stamping out all 4 of the daisy images and all 5 of the bee images. I'm going to stamp them on white paper with Copic friendly black ink, and I'm going to stamp that out 3 times and use all of them, 1 sheet per card. So now let's do some very easy coloring on these. It's very quick and easy, and not just because it's sped up, but I will show you here. I'm just using 2 colors on the center of my flowers, my darkest yellow, and then coming in with my lightest Y04 and repeating that on all of my flowers and my bees as well. And then for my stems, I have G14 as my darkest color, and I'm putting that in first, and then I will come in with my lighter color and add in or fill that in with my YG06. I'll do that on all of the flowers. And then for the white parts, I'm using C2 as my darkest, and then I'm going to come back in with my C0 and blend that out. I also had my C00 marker there, but I didn't actually end up using that one, just my C0, and that really worked good for the white parts of the flowers, and I repeated that on all of them. And then once I was done doing that, I actually brought back my C2 and went around the very center of the flower to darken that shadow there. And I actually went in with my darkest marker on all the things and darkened out my shadows as well. And now I have my white Jelly Roll pen, and I added some white highlights to all of the images, and then they're all ready to be die cut out. So here's the matching die set. There is a die for every image in this set, but not for the words themselves. So I die cut those out, and they are so gorgeous. I am loving them so much. They are so pretty. So now let's take these and my first background and create a card. So first I just like to lay things out and see how they're going to fit on there and kind of get an idea of how this card is going to go before I commit to gluing them down. Now I am gluing on top of a bumpy surface, an uneven surface. So I'm going to use a little bit more glue than I normally do. Like, you need to channel your inner kindergartner and just squeeze out that glue. This is a time when it's okay to do that. So I have my 4 flowers in place, and I'm going to trim off the stems at the bottom, but not on the sides. Sometimes it's really hard for me to trim off images off the edge of my paper. I'm stamping a sentiment that says, "Not a daisy goes by that I don't think of you." I think it's so cute. I stamped that in black and on white cardstock, and I'll fussy cut that out so it is bubble cut, as I like to call it, and then that will be ready for my card. Next, I am going to pop up all of the bees. This bee right here, he's my favorite. He's like round and chubby and so cute. And then I brought in a circle die set, cut out a yellow circle. This one has some piercing detail. It's really like teeny tiny holes. And so I decided to go ahead and give that a try, and I liked it. So I'm going to glue down that yellow circle, and that's going to be a nice little placeholder for my popped up sentiment, just like that. So pretty. Now, to embellish this card, I am bringing in some gold baubles from Trinity Stamps and gluing those in and around my flowers. I think I ended up putting a total of 7 of these on the card, and this is the only card I use them on, but I think they would look good on any of the 3 cards I'm going to make today. So I'm gluing this onto a slimline card that measures 8.5 by 7, scored at 3.5, and then I can go ahead and glue down my extra bees as an embellishment for the inside of my card. So cute. All right, I wanted to show you, even though those flowers hang off the edge, they still fit in my business-sized envelope. A little bit tight on one side, but actually it's going to mail just fine in that envelope. So it's okay that those flowers hung off. For my embossed panel, where I pressed the die into the paper, I'm bringing in antique linen distress oxide ink, and I'm really just going to go around the edge of this card, but I really loved the look of this. So even though I wanted more of a white center, it didn't really work out that way. I am so in love with how this turned out. So I'm spritzing it with water, and I just let that set for a minute while I cleaned up the excess on my desk. And then when I picked this up, I love how it lightened it in certain spots. So I added a few more spritzes of water, and now I'm bringing in wild honey, and I'm going to wet that and use my scraggly paintbrush and this window sheet to help splatter on this darker color. I love layers of splatter, having something light and having something dark to splatter on my card. So once that's dry, I figured out where I wanted my flowers to go, and again, I'm using a kindergartner amount of glue to glue on these flowers because, again, it's an uneven surface. So I'll press and hold that in place. I also like to do my flowers on the ends first. Anytime I'm putting something in a row, I like to do the 2 end pieces and then put my ones that go in the middle next. And that just helps me with spacing, especially on things that have to be evenly spaced. I really try to avoid that if I can, evenly spaced things, because I don't excel at that. So, but that's one little trick that does help when I am trying to do that. So I trimmed off the excess on the bottom. I'm going to pop up my bees. Now this one, the dye scooted on me, or I didn't put the dye on well, so I had a little excess white at the bottom. I just trimmed that off, and then I'm adding in that fat chubby bee, I love him, and one down lower by the flowers. Now I'm stamping "You Make My Daisy." So it's a play on words, like "you make my day." And then I'm going to fussy cut this out as well and use that bubble cut technique. And that will give me a nice long sentiment that will fit right above my flowers on this card. But I didn't want to leave it just plain, so I brought in a banner die from Honeybee Stamps and die cut that out from yellow. This fits on there really good with the daisy hanging over part of it. I didn't mind that at all, and I'll pop that up in the center of my card right there at the top. Now this one I did also trim down a little bit, and it left me with a little bit of a white border all the way around this card, which I loved. I thought it looked really good. And again, I have 2 extra bees that I can add to the inside of this card as well. I think the bees in this stamp set are so fun, so cute. So there is card number 2. I am very pleased with how this one turned out. And now onto the two-toned background. I already glued my flowers on coming in from the ends, and then I added a sentiment to the center of that. I would have had more of this filmed for you had I pushed record on my camera sooner, but I didn't. So you missed seeing me stamp out my sentiment and bubble cut it, but there it is. And then I am adding some glaze to my bees, and I think I love it so much. It really helped the bees pop from this card, especially because they're so close to the flowers and in and around and on the flowers. So it looks fabulous. Make sure you check out the photos at the end where you can see the glaze all dry. I'm not sure, but I might have to go back and add it on to the others. So now let's take a close-up look at all 3 of these cards. I love them. I would love to know, which one do you like the very best? You know, I don't mind it at all when you guys tell me you love all my cards and you can't decide. That does not hurt my feelings. But if you have one that you love the best, tell me. If you liked a certain technique with that wood grain die, let me know. I will have all the things I used listed and linked for you below, so you can check out the Scrappy Tales shop if you like. It's a small family-owned business with a young woman who owns the business and designs the stamps. Her name is Sabrina. She is fabulous. She's super sweet. So when you shop there, you should know that you are supporting a very good business. So that's all for me today, but I will be back again very soon with some more cute cards for you. So come back and see me, and happy stamping. Bye.